All right, guys, we're working on quadrilaterals. How can you classify or compare quadrilaterals? A seating chart for the baseball field has many four-sided figures, a quadrilateral. What types of quadrilaterals can you find in the seating chart? All right, quad means four, guys. So whenever you see the word quad, lateral means shape or lines. So that means a quadrilateral has four lines in it. There are 5 special types of quadrilaterals. You can classify quadrilaterals by their properties. So they're grouped by you group them by what they have in common. Some are parallel sides and perpendicular sides. So parallel means when two lines are across from each other with the exact same distance between them. Parallel lines can go whatever way as long as the same distance is in between them. Perpendicular lines are lines that intersect to form four right angles. So it's like a perpendicular or like these here. And you know that we talked about this. This has a right angle because I can get a perfect square in the middle. So it has, those are lines that intersect. Intersect means to join or cross each other. These two can be perpendicular to each other because this is an intersection where it does. So, but this is a perpendicular lines. These are perpendicular lines. These are perpendicular and these are perpendicular. All right. So we need to talk about what are those classifications. A general four quadrilateral, has 4 sides and 4 angles. That's all the rules there are. 4 sides. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 angles. 1, 2, 3, 4. They can be at a obtuse angle, an acute angle, but they have to have 4 of them. All right. A trapezoid. A trapezoid is a quadrilateral at least one pair of parallel lines. So put the word parallel. So that means this and this are the 2 parallel lines because there's a same distance in between them. Okay, a parallelogram is a special trapezoid with opposite sides. So like these 2 sides are opposite of each other. These 2 sides are opposite that are congruent. Let's review what the word congruent means. Congruent means same size, same shape. So if we measured this one and this line would be exactly the same side, and these would be exactly the same size. So the opposite ones have to be that to be a parallelogram. To be a rhombus, let's move down to a rhombus. A rhombus is a special parallelogram with 4 congruent sides. So that means all 4 sides are the same length. Congruent means same size, same shape. So same length. All 4 of them have to be that. So a parallelogram can be a rhombus can be a parallelogram, but a parallelogram can't be a rhombus unless it is got all 4 shapes. So a rectangle is a special parallelogram with 4 right angles and 4 pairs of perpendicular sides, which means all 4 sides have right angles. Where they intersect, it's a right angle. A square is a parallelogram with 4 congruent sides, so that means all the sides have to be the same length, and 4 right angles. All right, So the types of quadrilaterals we found in the seating chart. Well, if we look at the seating chart, guys, I am seeing a trapezoid. I'm seeing a square. I see lots of rectangles. I'm seeing a parallelogram because those are equal with one's opposite sides equal. Let's see, can you find a rhombus? There's a rectangle, there's a square, trapezoids. So I'm sure if we searched, we could find that. All right, now we're moving on, and I want you to draw. We're going to see how well. Have this sheet out here, and I'm going to have you rip this out and put this in your binder, guys, because this will help you with all the other shapes all the other quadrilaterals and how to classify them. So we are going to, I want you to get a piece of paper, or hopefully I'll have these made and they'll be better. So we've got all these circles, and what this means is they say every trapezoid is also a parallelogram, a rhombus, a rectangle, and a square. And every parallelogram, every rhombus, and every triangle and every square is a parallelogram. Every rhombus can be a square. A square can be a rhombus, depending on if it fits both qualifications. A square can be a rectangle, but can a rectangle be a square? No. So let's just look at our shapes that we have in that little box. And if I look at this shape right here, I'm just going to look at it and I say, well, from the rules that I already know, I know that it has 4 congruent sides and 4 right angles. So I know that's a square, so it's going to go in the square. That also means it is a rectangle, a rhombus, a parallelogram, and a trapezoid. Okay, what I want you to do now with your partner is I want you to take all the rest of these shapes and I want you to talk through using your sheet, page 645, and shut the tape off and put these where you want them, and then turn the tape back on and see if you got them in the same place that I placed them. All right, you're back. I hope you have them in order. I'm going to tell you how I shape mine. I put this one with a rectangle because it has 4 right angles and it has perpendicular sides. So that means my 4 sides are 4 pairs of perpendicular sides. So each one of these that intersect down here have right angles. This is a trapezoid because it has 2 parallel lines. These lines are exactly the same distance apart. This, I would say, goes in the rhombus. It is a parallelogram, but it's a rhombus because all 4 sides are congruent. This is another rectangle. This, I would say, is a trapezoid because I have 2 sides that are parallel. The 2 sides, opposite sides, are parallel to each other, have parallel lines. I would say this is a parallelogram because they have the opposite sides are congruent. They're not all 4 exactly the same size. That's why it can't be in the rhombus. Let's see if you got yours in the same place. Now let's go back and answer these questions. Leave it lay there beside you. A rhombus is a square. So we can say sometimes, always, or never. And if I look here at my thing, at my diagram, I would say that a rhombus is sometimes a square, but not always, because this is not a square, but it's a rhombus. This is a rhombus, but it's not a square. So that's why it is sometimes. A parallelogram is a rectangle. I would say it is sometimes a rectangle, because these are parallelograms and they're rectangles. But this is a parallelogram, but it is not a rectangle because it doesn't have 4 right angles. A rhombus is a parallelogram. A rhombus is always a parallelogram because a rhombus will always fit the criteria of a parallelogram where opposite sides are congruent. A trapezoid is a parallelogram. Sometimes a trapezoid is a parallelogram, and that is the rule of this book, because the opposite sides can sometimes be parallel to each other. Here they are not. Here they are not, but they say a trapezoid is when its opposite sides are parallel. At least one is. A parallelogram is blank a trapezoid. They say it is always a trapezoid because it is in the trapezoid. All trapezoids are a parallelogram, a rhombus, a rectangle, and a square. A square is a rhombus. Sometimes. A square is always a rhombus because it is